guys. I want to welcome Willie Johnson from California. What part of California are you from, Willie?
Northern, up near Sacramento, Roseville area. I live in Roseville,
Okay,
but most people don't know Roseville, so you say Sacramento, and then they go, "Oh, okay."
Oh, okay, yeah. That's what people ask me. Where are you from, Illinois? I'm like, I'm not even going to try to bother you telling me because you're not going to know.
Nope.
But I have met Willie through some just groups that we're in, and he's been posting some awesome stuff that I've been finding highly valuable, talking about disciplines and routines and stuff like that. And as you know, any guy in this group of structure, you guys understand that I just love anything to do with disciplines and routines. And so he's been targeting this stuff. And so I asked him if he would join me. And so here we are. And as you guys know, what's great about this is it's like having a cup of coffee, because Willie and I, we spoke for 10 minutes before we got on this call, but we don't know each other. So it's cool to sit down, pick your brain, and just talk about some disciplines. So let's rock and roll. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you reaching out, and that's the best to connect when it's a complete mindset connection, right? You see a person and their actions, and you say, hey, this is someone that I need to get online with. We need to connect, because it just strengthens what do they say? Iron sharpens iron, right? So
Yes.
that's how you do it. So you hop on the call. But hey, I come from a hospitality background, like I was telling you, and I've always been about service. In the hospitality hotel industry, it's about being disciplined, being the same. You have to be consistently to deliver those services, to deliver that expectation. So that's just transferred over into my life. And I open that up to, especially during COVID, to open that up and to really, really start to reach out and connect with people, start to give people disciplines that can help them stay encouraged, stay inspirational, stay motivated, stay positive during this pandemic, because it is so easy to get distracted into all the negativity. And it starts with being disciplined from your mind. I mean, so it all leads to everything else to kind of set us up. So that is me. I'm like you, man. I'm up every day with like, how can I be better today? How can I do better today? And hit the ground running, man.
And that's cool, because we said, there's people now waking up. They're waking up just with anxiety, and they're worried about all this stuff. And like you said, when you start controlling your mind and you're able to get that discipline, because your thoughts control everything. Our thoughts control our feelings, and our feelings lead to actions. And then that's whenever you do things that you may not normally do or ordinarily do, or if you have any sort of addiction, it's like those thoughts can just trigger that and lead to that, and it's like boom. But if you have discipline set up, a routine set up in every area, it's just so much easier. So like, what's your morning routine look like? Are you disciplined? I assume you're disciplined in that area. Like, what's that look like?
Yeah, so it's funny. So I came up with this. I name it. It's called Power Me, right? So it's
now. If you see me looking down, I'm taking notes on all this stuff.
No, you're good. It's called Power Me. So just like it sounds, POWER and then ME. So I start off 4:30, and again, I'm gonna make a quote, or not a quote, but I make a disclaimer here that 4:30 is the goal. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. So anyone watching go, oh man, I can't do every day at 4:30. 4:30 is the goal. But with that goal, when you condition yourself, there's times where I will wake up even without the alarm clock. So once you get that mindset, so I start out, Power Me is number one is prayer. To me, that is prayer by ways of just getting your mind straight, getting your peace of thought, quietness, no phone, no nothing. I don't even touch my phone. I don't look at anything. I go right in, start praying, getting my mind straight. And then through that prayer, I start observing, just start visualizing, looking at my day, looking at how I want to show up, right? How do I want to see myself in whatever scenario it is? If I have a call, if I have a meeting, if I'm talking with someone, I observe that. And then I go into writing. Journaling is so crucial to get out of me what I'm feeling that day, what my thoughts are, what I want to get done that day. Usually take top three things, and hey, I want to accomplish these things, what I'm grateful for. Just writing is so powerful. And then then exercising, right? Exercising at least 30 minutes, some sort of either running. I love running. Like you, when you said running, I love running, but it's been so smoky in California. with all the fires. So, so I start working out inside, but 30 minutes of exercising, and then reading. I read my Bible. I read anything on self-development, on power of mind, anything that can help strengthen that day. I start out that. So that's reading. And then after that, I go to like a meditation, just kind of, okay, now what am I committing to today? What are my intentions? Because I truly believe that if we're not intentional with what we design ourselves to do that day, what we see ourselves doing that day, it will not happen.
Yes.
We have to show up to be intentional, whatever it is. I don't care what it is, be intentional about it. And seeing yourself doing that through a form of meditation, again, just a relaxation, getting your mind straight. And then my favorite, before I head out the door, is eating. Eating. That last E is for eating. I drink shakes in the morning, either something healthy, something to kind of energize my body, because you have to kind of have all that. So I call it my power me, because it's powering myself up to get out and to own my day.
Yeah. I think that eating, I hate to admit it, but that plays a big part in it, because I'm terrible at that. And then I just randomly grab something. So like, I've never made any lies about it, or never, like, my nutrition is not the best. But, I love what you said too about the observation. And I assume that, like, you're almost visualizing your day. You're planning out your day, seeing how you want it to go. And I don't know, there was an app that I had on my phone that would walk you through that entire process of seeing your day and visualizing it. And it was so awesome. Now, do you do any type of affirmations or anything?
I do. I mean, I say them out loud and to myself, to my head, and I kind of take that affirmation and more so push it towards a prayer.
Yeah.
To me, it's more of a prayer. It's more like, hey, here's what I want to show up as. Here's how I want to be. I want to be stronger. I want to be bold. I want to be of courage. So all those things, to me, just turns into a prayer for me, versus just an affirmation. Because through that prayer, it gives me that faith and belief that I can actually take action on it. Sometimes, and nothing against affirmation, sometimes affirmation is just turn into just reading. Like, I'm just saying these things, but how am I going to get the mindset and the courage to actually do them?
Yeah.
So it's almost like the same thing. I mean, a lot of times when you're sitting down, when you're saying that and that affirmation turns into a prayer, it's almost, for me, it instantly goes that direction.
Yeah. And I only asked that because I kind of took some of my affirmations next level the other day, because I would listen to, I've got some that I would read, but then I also would listen to a YouTube video on, like, building confidence in yourself and stuff like that. And so my wife, she's part of a program, and her thing was, you can make your own affirmations. Instead of you listening to that YouTube video, you can make your own on your phone. I was like, what? So yesterday I sat down and I made 10 minutes worth of myself repeating these things. I mean, there's probably 150 different things. I read through them 2 or 3 times. But so now, like, I like to do mine of an early morning, almost in like a trance state, like kind of half asleep or half groggy. So I'll do my morning routine, then I'll lay back down I'll do a 20-minute meditation along with those. And it's a little weird hearing your own voice, I felt a little bit weird talking like that, saying those things. But, I think a lot of that stuff too, when you play into that, the neuroplasticity of changing your brain and doing all that, like, hearing my own voice as I am, or I have already accomplished these things, hopefully that'll be, moving me in the right direction. But like you said, owning the morning, dude, it's awesome.
Oh yeah. It's huge. To me, it's the first 3 hours are crucial, no matter what. I mean, some people obviously, we have to go to work. People would tell me when I'm working with them, say, oh, well, I have to be at work at this time. I say, okay, well then how do you fix that? They go, oh, I don't know. I just don't have time. I said, no. You have time. You just have to choose to get up earlier.
Oh,
so
yes.
There's always time. Is, do you choose to sleep or do you choose to get up early? And they said, well, I'm always tired. I said, okay, well, then you go on the back end of that and you go to bed earlier. There's 24 hours for all of us. So there's no way that I could do it, you could do it, and someone else can do it. It's a choice. So either you go to bed earlier and you get up earlier. It seems so simple, right? But it's the choice.
It's the choice. And like you said, are you disciplined enough to go to bed early? Are you disciplined enough? Yeah. And one of the keys too for me, I like to get 7 hours of sleep. It's like my key. But I understand too, like if I go to bed at 9:30, I can tell my brain or body, hey, you're going to get solid 7 hours of sleep. You're going to wake up at 4:30, well rested, ready to rock and roll, and you're going to tackle the day. And like you, I wake up normally before the alarm clock. My wife's alarm
Yeah.
goes off. And if I don't wake, she'll kick me, but it's one of those things where it's just so crazy how once you start doing these things.
Yes.
I told myself yesterday, I was like, I'm going to sleep in today. And at 5:30, I was like wide awake. I'm like, I guess I'll just get up. You know what I mean? And I don't, sleeping in is now a thing of the past. I don't want to.
Right. It becomes from the subconscious. It moves into a conscious. You just do it now. And it's like you could even tell yourself, like, hey, I'm gonna get up at this time. And I actually like to test my conscience to see if it's on the same wavelength as me. I'll leave my alarm in my watch. I have an Apple Watch that wakes, has the alarm on it. I'll leave it off just to see. And then I'm so fired up when I look up and it's like 4:30, like on the dot. I'm like, yes, this is
so
what
cool.
I'm talking
That's
about.
Awesome. And I think some people will think that's like woo-woo stuff, but I believe it's real. Like our brains they're wired like that. And we can choose to wire. My wife told me today, she's like, our brains are like a mold and you can form it and shape it. It doesn't matter how old you are. If there's anything you want to change in your life, we have the ability to do that. But are we going to make the choices? Are we going to be disciplined enough to do those things?
Right.
How bad do you want it?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I tell people that all the time.
I wrote down
everything you need if you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I tell people all the time, you have everything you need already within you. You just have to unlock it and bring it out. Whatever it is you're looking for. You want to get up earlier, it's in you. You want to be disciplined, it's in you. You just have to work it and get your mind on that same wavelength.
Yes. Oh, so good. And I lost what I was going to say there, but you said this the other day in one of your things, and this is a quote, and I didn't write it down, but you can't be disciplined in great things and undisciplined in small things.
Yes, no, you cannot.
How true is that? Like we all want these great things, but we want them like in the society we live in, we want those things now. Like we don't want to have to work hard for it. Like we're in that microwave society. Just put it in the microwave, heat it up. Same thing, Willie, I think you're muted. Are you muted?
Oh, there we go. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I had some noise here. We're going live and uncensored. My car is leaving, so sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good.
I love that you wrote that because it's so easy, especially when you're starting out. Like I had a quote that said, I mentioned that it's easy in our enthusiasm and our excitement to make promises, right? We get so excited. Yeah, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna run 20 miles, or I'm gonna write this book, or I'm gonna change we get excited and we skip right to that big discipline. That's a big change.
Yes.
But where we miss out is, how are you with the little things? Are you faithful in those little things? And I'm talking as little as I had a background in the Army, and little disciplines like getting up and making your bed, something as simple as that. People go, oh, that's crazy. No, it's a small discipline. If you get disciplined in those little things, then each new discipline becomes easier and easier, because each small discipline will lead you to a bigger discipline.
Yeah.
So those little things, getting up early, right? Small discipline, but it's a big one because it's going to open you up to do so many more things. Going to bed early. So you're absolutely right. The little ones, once you start to master those, then now you're able to take on more responsibilities, because you can't just go to the big responsibilities. You'll fail.
Yep. Like I think we've all seen that video on YouTube with that colonel or whatever from the military who said, like, and he wrote that book called Make Your Bed or something like that. Like simple, like make your bed. And even if your day goes to hell, once you walk out the door, you walk in, at least your bed's made, and everybody feels proud when their bed is made and looking good. Dude, and that's one of my things too. I make my bed every single morning, but you're completely right. It's something as simple as that. And another thing for me that was hard was to journal or take notes on stuff. I call them my life journals, but I keep these things everywhere with me, and I write down. I keep track of everything.
Yeah, I have a ton of them. I go back and I'll look at them. I'll read what I wrote, and just to see where I was thinking, how it would be. It's so crucial, because one thing with that, it helps with the discipline, because now if you can write down, hey, I said I was going to do this, you're making that commitment to yourself. And that at the end of the day, you go back and go, oh, man, I missed that mark, but that's okay. I'm gonna write it again. You know what I mean? So it's forcing yourself to see what you said and what you committed to, and then just to be disciplined in it and start small. Like I said, a little one. Write down one thing. I tell people, write down one thing. Write down one thing, and you're going to be so proud that you accomplished that one thing, because our minds love that reward. It's feeding your mind that reward of accomplishing something. We all want to be accomplished, and when it starts by those small things.
Yep. And once they start adding up, like that won't just be 1% better every day. Once they start going, it's like you can just skyrocket. It just then nothing's unobtainable. I feel like once you accomplish something like that, or just get a few of those disciplines rocking and rolling, like we're good to go. But one of the things I added in my morning routine was every single day I started writing a contract to myself.
Oh yeah, that's good.
It used to be like, whatever, like with fitness and stuff like that, goals. But like yesterday's was, today I will live my life with integrity, with a servant's heart, and for God. I'll be 100% faithful to my wife and to my values as what it looks like to be a real man. I'll treat this day as the best day of my life while being present in it with my children. I will lay my head down of an evening and rest easy, knowing that I've had a great day doing the best I could. And I'll sign that every day, and I'll write a different one every day. But once I started doing that, I started doing it like a week ago. Like my days, whatever, just go better. Because if I ever think about doing something, like, now is that with a servant's heart? Am I being faithful to my wife? If I look at this girl with lust, or if I notice something, like, turn away. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I that's beautiful, man. I love that. I call that. So I have these, I love index cards, and I spoke on this on one of my Monday talks. Is I have a stacks of hundreds and hundreds of index cards, because they're so powerful. They're so little, but they're so powerful because you can put that on there and you can carry it with you. So I have on mine, I have a code of conduct, right? And it's my own, kind of like you, it's my own personal commitments to these areas and it says that I will show up every day following these code of conducts. And it goes from like being giving, being loving, being bold, being of courage, being inspirational, being grateful, being passionate, so, and he goes all these lines. And then from there, he goes into your discipline priorities. What are your priorities? What are those top 3 priorities in your life that you have your values in? And for me, it's God, my family, my friends, and then myself, right? So if anything that I'm doing in my day doesn't fit in those priorities, then I go, it's not of importance. It can wait. And then it kind of shrinks your day, because people would tell me all the time when they say, hey, you should strive out to do this. Oh, I don't have time. I have all these things. I've always said, okay, well, prioritize what is important to you. Then look at it, right? Instead of like taking everything in and then we try to sort it out. We take all this stuff on. Yeah, I got it. I'll do this. We throw promises around so loosely, but yet our true commitment is very small things. So what are those 3 or 4 things that you hold of value, and be disciplined to that? And if they don't fall in those things, say, hey, no, I'm so sorry. I won't be able to commit to that right now. And that's it. And be okay with that, because
it's okay
at the end of the
no.
day, it's okay to say no. At the end of the day, you have to be able to look at yourself and say, hey, these are my priorities, and I live to them, period.
Yeah. 100%. And for me too, when looking at my priorities, the cell phone, I realized that I was taking, if I'm busy all day but not without my family, and I come home, like I can put my phone away and own my own business and just talk to different people throughout the day. Like it's okay to put my phone up, because how often is anything like a death in a family or a huge emergency? Very, very rarely. And so it's like, oh, it's okay. If I leave that for tomorrow, it's still going to be there,
Right.
I read about one guy that, and this was back a long time ago, whenever people got mail, like he would tell his assistant, don't give me, like, hold all my mail back for 3 weeks. And then when it comes time, like, then give me that mail every 3 weeks. And it's like, this stuff that was very, very urgent had to be settled, was usually settled in that 3 week period without him ever even knowing about it. I was like, man, that makes a lot of sense.
And it's so easy for us to try to, I love what you said about the cell phone, because it's easy for us to see something come in and we go, oh, that's it. It's almost, there's a quote, it says like, don't let it's almost like someone's lacking doing something and taking care of something become my emergency. right? Because now
Yeah.
they're reaching out to you and they're like, oh, I need this done. You're like, whoa, hold on. Whatever you had or you should have done, I'm not going to let that be my emergency. Put it away. And it's hard because you feel like you're going to turn away business but it's being commitment to your priorities. Like you said, when I get home, there's certain days where I will say I'm not working today. And my wife and everybody knows I put the phone down, I turn it off, and it's family time. We're doing whatever. We went like Friday. I didn't do any posting. I didn't do anything. We went to Apple Hills. Like, hey, we're going to hang out on Friday, and that's it. And
Yep.
being commitment. That's showing up for your family, showing up for whatever your priorities are. That's how you go to sleep at night saying, I'm bettering myself for my whatever my priorities are.
Yep. And, I think, too, on a scale of being a man, sometimes it's hard to actually figure out what those priorities are, and maybe even what order they should go in. But once you figure that out, like my life has went 100% smoother once those priorities got in order. That's why I always think, if you can get because how many of us, for me, I didn't have things in order whenever I got married. I lived with my wife before we got married. We had sex before we got married. We did everything out of order, and biblically, in those ways.
Yeah.
And we've changed our ways, and I hope I can instill those values in my kids as to how to live better. But once I got my priorities straight, got my house in order, if you will, then it's like, okay, life is good, and you take care of those priorities, things just seem to go smoother.
Oh, you 100%. And hey, I know because I was I was young and I'm on my second marriage. I was young and I got married like early 20s and just was not mentally, had no priorities. Just everything just happened so quickly and we were young and it just was too much, and it's almost like I had to come to a level of maturity, of responsibility of how should I be if I'm going to be a father, if I'm going to be a husband, if I'm going to be, a servant to people, how do I need to show up? So it was almost like a maturity level. And sometimes it takes a while. I always go, people go, oh, you have some gray. I say, yeah, that's maturity. That's wisdom. That's learning. Yeah, there you go. That's learning.
I got a bunch of it in there.
That's learning, man. That's learning from life, right? Those life lessons that you learn. And that what makes us being there for other men or other people so powerful because we're saying, hey, it's okay if you don't got it together right now. I joke, I go, why now? It's like I'm in my 40s. All of a sudden now it's like I got it together.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Yes. It's like it took 40 years, guys. So be patient. If you're in your 20s and you feel like, oh man, I don't get it. I keep messing up. Hey, be patient. Just keep pounding at it. They say a river carves a rock by being consistent. It doesn't just happen overnight, man. That river cuts through that rock and it shapes it. So men are like rocks, man. It takes some serious work.
For sure. And even once we make that decision, it still is going to take time. It's not, because of the habits we've instilled in our own brains and bodies for so long, it still takes time to adjust to those. But having that mindset and being mindful, at least that's the first step. Because it took me until I was like 34 to be like, oh man. And I'm very fortunate my wife stayed with me for that long instead of saying, hey, idiot, get out of here, So
right,
I'm very fortunate on that. And so sometimes I'm like, now, do you like the new mic better or the old mic? She's like, get out of here,
Right.
But for me, making those changes, and she went through some things too, and our relationship with God on both of our ends changed 100%. Then it's like, man, our marriage is at a place now where it's never been, and we understand that things we're going through, dude, they're trivial compared to what they could be, especially when we got each other's back 100%. We're like, we can, she's like, I think we can conquer anything. I'm like, that's nice to hear from your wife.
It is. It's possible the same. I feel the same way. You have that strong partnership and working together and communicating and being on that same page. Whatever it is that you're seeking towards, you need that support. That is your other half, and being okay with, hey, you know what, we might have a stumble here or there, but and get back up. Like you said, it's okay. We might not have it all dialed in, but we're working together. We're on the same wavelength, and there's so much power in that. We can't do this on our own. None of us. I mean, there's no one person that is able to just do it on their own. You got to get that strength from even if you're not married, you have to find that strength somewhere. And for me, that was God. That was finding that strength to say, hey, I need help. I am not good enough to do this. I tried it, failed, tried it, failed,
Yep.
so I need to know and trust in someone that, like you said, no matter what, it's going to work out. I know, I have trust, I have faith that it's going to work out. It might not even be how I see it to be, right? But it's going to work out.
Exactly. And to have that level of trust with your spouse is something that I didn't have for a long time, because I know she didn't trust me. And now she'll say, like, I trust you with everything. She's like, before, I didn't trust you. I just figured it was a matter of time before you screwed up and I just left. I'm like, I hate to hear that, but I had it coming. That's the life I was living. So, but Willie, give us some final words of advice on our way out here. I appreciate you taking the time to meet with us.
Oh man.
Now, are you awesome. Are you in the Structure U group? If not, I'll send you an invite.
Please send it to me. I was thinking it and I was like, wait, I know we connected. I was like, oh, I must have missed that one, because I'm all about those groups. So please send it over. And I would love to be a part of it, bring any value that I can. But I guess in closing, I would say, and this is something I was going to talk about today, was in a post today, was, where are we at with our disciplines, with our habits, and being in line with where we want to go, right? I mean, our habits and our disciplines must raise to the level of our desires, of our commitments. We can't say, I want to run a marathon and never practice. You can't say, I want to write a book and never start writing. So what are those daily habits? What are those daily little disciplines that you're doing? And are they at that level to where you're trying to go? And that's where we have to start. We have to look at that. And it doesn't mean that you're a failure if you're not doing it. It just means that you need to recognize it, because sometimes we think we can talk ourselves into being a certain way. I'm just going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep talking about it. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We could post all day. We could do all these things. But until we raise our disciplines and our habits to that level of our desires, of our dreams, of our goals, they're not going to make it. So it's adjusting those habits, man, and putting action behind them. I can't stress it enough. If you say, I'm going to get up tomorrow at 4:30, even if you miss the mark, start with trying. Maybe it's 5. Maybe that's too big of a goal. If you used to get up at 9, you say you're going to get up at 4:30, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Hate life.
Yes.
So maybe you say, okay, maybe I'm going to get up at 8. So it's just all about looking at where you're trying to go and putting some action behind that and raising those disciplines to that level.
Yeah.
Just start slowly. And once you get those disciplines on that level, then the commitment comes in, and then you're off and you're running.
Dude,
you got it.
100% agree. And even if you, like you said, even if you are now mindful of these things, you're wanting to do it and you fail, you're not failing, you're learning. Like, I need to adjust something. I need to do something differently. But dude, that's great advice. And like you said, just baby steps and small disciplines, 1% better each day.
You're off, you're running, you're owning it.
Awesome. So Willie, I so much appreciate the time. It's nice to meet you. And I'm glad we had this conversation. I know a lot of guys will get some good stuff out of this.
Oh yeah, I loved it, man. I think, I love the spontaneous. I'm a spontaneous guy, man. Like I would always say, hey, I might do this and that, but when I show up, I much prefer that, because then that's where you're coming and that's all your passion. So I love it, man. Send me the group. Love to be a part of it.
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, Willie, I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
I appreciate it.